Well. The Bears finally did it. They lost today. Great news. And when we thought it was over, we thought we were not going to get the first pick. We thought somehow, some way, we were just going to stick with the second pick because it looked like Davis Mills was literally choking the game away as we gave it. He practically gave the Colts 2 free touchdowns. I turned the game off, literally. I'm like, I'm done. We're going to be the second round pick. We're content. Next thing you know, I go on Twitter. Everybody's blowing up on Twitter. I see the Texans apparently completed a 4th and 20 for a touchdown, and now they're in the lead. And they got the 2-point conversion in the lead. And guess what? I watched the last drive the Colts is, and when that ball was batted down and hit the turf, I was celebrating because the Bears officially now have the first overall pick of this year's NFL draft. Now, I wish my Uncle Daryl was here, but I guess he went to sleep because no exact reason why. There were a lot of playoff implications this morning. Don't know why he went to sleep. He's going to sleep for Lions, Packers. It is what it is. Because he wants to see. We all want to see the Packers lose. If the Bears freaking win today and then the Packers end up losing tonight, today would be a wonderful night. I don't have to see the Packers in the playoffs, and then the Bears get the first overall pick. Good. All right. Before I talk about the whole first overall pick situation that's going to be going on and things like that, I want to give my thoughts on the game. I didn't really freaking watch. To be honest, I barely watched the game because it was a meaningless freaking game, to be honest. The only standout players I saw on the offense side of the ball were Velus Jones Jr. He had a pretty good touchdown. And then Cole Kmet, I would say, had a pretty solid game around. Peterman and Boyle, who played, well, what do you think they were going to do? They weren't going to do nothing. They weren't going to do anything. Simple as that. They weren't going to do nothing. You know, they go in, they just do enough to lose. Good. But yeah, only thing, again, I constantly see is the fact that I did see another quarterback who got the opportunity to start, did take some deep shots. Peterman did take some deep shots. Boyle, he did take a deep shot, even though it was an intercepted, but complete interception. But still, it's like I kind of look and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing the quarterback take deep shots, get the ball out of his hands a little bit faster, too. I'm like, that's something Justin Fields has to work on. I would like Justin Fields to get the ball out a little bit quicker, especially the fact that your line's not as good. And then 2, I would like Justin Fields to take even more deep shots. Trust your wide receivers, even if they are covered. Just throw it up there and see if your receivers will come down with it. Just because a guy's covered doesn't mean they don't have a chance. Just throw it up to the guy for a 50-50 ball. I would like to see going to next year, Justin Fields do a little bit more of that. If he can do a little bit more of getting the ball out quicker and then actually giving his receivers a shot to go up and go catch a ball, just say, hey, okay, I have nothing else. I'm going to go chuck it to my boy. Whether it's Claypool, Kmet, Mooney, simple things like that. Or whatever potential new receiver that we want, which is a number 1 that we need to bring in, whether that's through trade or you get it through the draft, who knows? But I would like Justin Fields to have more confidence in his receivers, not say, oh, that guy's covered, I'm going to go to my next read. No, if he's covered, sometimes you just got to be like, you know what, F it. I'm going to throw it up there and freaking have my guy go make a play. I would like to see that more. I'd like to see the ball get out a little bit quicker. Simple as that. But I could care less what Tim Boyle or, Nathan Peterman did. They did barely enough to get you by. Now, the one thing I will say is, in terms of the backup quarterback situation going forward, I would like the backup quarterback to be a guy that's a little bit more similar to Fields' strengths. So you don't have to really change the playbook. You can call the exact same plays like how the Ravens had with Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. They're both mobile quarterbacks. They can not only run, but they can throw. And you don't have to change your playbook pretty much as much as if you won't have to change your playbook as much as the next guy. So that's kind of the thing there. It was David Montgomery's last game. He didn't really do anything significant, to be honest. It's going to be up in the air what they do with that. Getting Cole Kmet, I thought he had his best game of the season. He got another touchdown. Good. The Bears, I guess, made another record. They become I think they led the league this year in rushing for the regular season. So yeah, defensively, nothing else to say. They were competitive up to a point in the game, and then obviously the cows came home. But other than that, nothing else. We did get an interception. Greg Stroman Jr. got an interception today. We got a fumble recovery today off Dalvin Cook. But other than that, there's really nothing else I can fricking say, man. There's nothing else I can say. The Bears lost. It was pretty much a meaningless game. Nothing else to talk about here. Now, moving on to probably bigger and better things is now with the Texans somehow stupidly winning, they end up losing the first overall round pick. Yeah, they lose the first overall pick. The Bears now get the first overall pick in this year's draft. It's the first time the Bears have had the first overall pick since 1947. That is a long-ass freaking time. Also, for everybody that was saying the Bears would be the worst team in the league this year, well, I have to honestly eat my crow and say those people were right. Guys like Louis Riddick and everything, they were saying oh yeah, the Bears are going to be the worst team in the league. Just watch. And certainly enough, they were the worst team in the league. Because if you're the first overall, if you're the team with the first overall pick in the upcoming draft, well, that means you're the worst team in the NFL. And the Bears are officially the worst team of this past season, pretty much. So, hey, now the good thing is the Bears got the first overall pick. Honestly, it's practically a pretty damn good pick to go with. Now, Foles could stay and either take a Jalen Carter or Will Anderson Jr. I don't think that's right now the play in the cards, because right now, with this NFL draft, with the fact that there are teams out there in this league, you got the Houston Texans, you got the Colts we just mentioned. Let me look. I gotta look. I gotta look at the draft order again. Draft order, NFL draft order. NFL draft order, tankathon. All right. So, as I'm saying, the Bears officially clinched the first overall pick. You got Houston, who could be in play for a so here's the teams that potentially could use a quarterback or need the quarterback. Houston, Indianapolis. What is it? The Raiders, the Carolina Panthers, potentially the Tennessee Titans, the Jets, the Washington Commanders. I don't think the Bears would do a deal with Detroit, but you get what I mean. So, Houston, the Colts, Raiders, Falcons, the Panthers. I'll put Tennessee up there because they look like they could use a quarterback. The Jets and the Washington Commanders. That's 8 teams. 8 teams that will probably be calling up the Bears, calling up Ryan Poles and the Bears and be like, so what is it going to take to get the first overall pick of this year's draft? Because the Bears getting the first overall pick of this year's draft, they control the entire freaking board. They control the entire board. Any of these quarterback needy teams that I just mentioned, guess what? All I got to do is give a call. And next thing you know, that's kind of the thing. Now, Ryan Poles has to do his due diligence. If he feels like the Bears would be better just staying put at 1 and he takes a Will Anderson Jr. or a Jalen Carter, that's their decision. We can't judge. Now, I feel like they might go that route if maybe their off-season in terms of free agency does not hit. If the Bears, for example, me and my uncle kept talking about the defensive line issue. Well, if you don't hit on the defensive line guys in free agency, like maybe getting a De'Aaron Payne or somebody like that, or other guys that could be a good 3 technique for you, and as well as you get other solid defensive line players around them to create pressure for your defensive line, maybe you actually look into maybe drafting a Will Anderson Jr. or a Jalen Carter at that first pick. And you're like, you know what? we won't trade back. Let's just stay at the first pick, take one of these good defensive players right here, and just go on from there. Or Ryan Poles says, you know what? Actually, instead of doing that, let's see if we can put ourselves in position to trade down, still be able to get those guys, but at the same time, we accumulate draft picks. Now, here's where I'm going at this. Draft order: Chicago at 1, Houston 2, Seattle at 3, thanks to Denver's pick, Arizona at 4, Indy at 5, the Detroit Lions at 6, because that's the Rams pick, Vegas at 7, Atlanta at 8, Carolina at 9, and then the Eagles are at 10, which I highly doubt the Eagles would trade up. But like I said, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that would more than likely trade up, who are in the top 10, that would trade up to go say, hey, we'll give you this haul if we can be the first overall pick. For example, freaking the Raiders could do it. Houston, if they're like, well, we kind of fluffed up, we'll be willing to trade you a haul of picks so we can move up in the draft. Or maybe the Indianapolis Colts, they move up and they say, hey, we did you guys a favor. Maybe do us a solid. We'll trade you all these picks away, which, let's be honest, I don't know if the Colts have enough picks because they've been trading them all away. Anyways, but like I'm saying, with the fact that Ryan Poles now has the first overall pick, he can control the board however much he wants. I feel like if the Jets are the Washington Commanders, maybe even the Tennessee Titans, if they want a quarterback to move up in the draft, I feel like they're going to have to give up a massive haul, because if you're the Bears, you're trading back into you're trading out of the top 10 essentially. And everything. So for me, if you're going to trade one of those teams, whether it's the Jets or the Washington Commanders, and they want to move up to get a quarterback, well, you better be asking the haul. That means I want probably 3, maybe 4 first-round picks, because I'm trading back a whole margin. And that's what I mean. When you trade back, now Ryan Poles can actually ask for multiple first-round picks. Maybe you move up with a team in the top 10, you will get 2 first-round picks. You will get their first-round pick of this year and the next year's first-round pick. But maybe if you trade with like the Jets or the Washington Commanders, you might need to be a little bit more stingy and say, well, I'm open to trading back with you. You got to give me 3 of your first-round picks. I want this year's first-round pick for you. I want next year's first-round pick. And then I want the year after's first-round pick. And then obviously, you're going to be probably more than likely asking for a second-rounder, maybe a few second-round, maybe 2 second-rounders, and then maybe a few late-round picks. This is what I mean. Ryan Poles literally can play the board, put all these teams' offers, because I guarantee you, these teams that are not in the playoffs, and they're going to be calling Ryan Poles in the offseason, say, hey, we have a potential deal on the table for the first overall pick. Ryan Poles is not going to take it. He's going to let all the offers come in and see what's the best. Him and his team are going to go to work, see what's the best offer out there, and maybe on draft night, that's when they'll make that set offer to go pick up, to go trade back more than likely. The Bears practically control the entire board, and that's the thing. With that whole logic, getting more accumulations draft picks, which is something that Brian Pace never did. He would typically trade back, and not get these. He would typically trade up and freaking blow picks away. But with the fact that now the Bears pretty much got probably their best scenario, probably the best thing they can look out of this season is getting the first overall pick. Now the Bears are in business. They control the board. They can do whatever they want to now. And whether that's them staying at number 1 or what I think they might do is just trade back. And I think they more than likely might trade back at least far enough where if they want to still go get a Will Anderson Jr. or a Jalen Carter, they'll know, okay, can we get this guy? Which also goes to show you the due diligence that they might need to go. You got to have a feel for what teams might select what guys and everything. Because, for example, I could definitely see Seattle either taking a Jalen Carter or a Will Anderson Jr. I feel like they would probably go with Jalen Carter. Arizona, I don't know what they might do. That's kind of the thing. So yeah. Now Indianapolis could actually move up to number 4 if Arizona somehow beats San Francisco, which I don't see happening, but okay. But again, the Bears can control the board. They can trade up with whoever they want. or trade back with whoever they want. They're obviously, again, like I said, the number one thing is Poles has to get a massive haul. If you're going to trade back, I expect multiple first-round picks. I expect a few second-round picks. I expect a few later-round picks as well. You got to get the haul. And especially, maybe you trade for a player. Maybe you trade for a player in any case. Like I said, maybe you ask the team, well, we'll do this. Give us a player. You know? Like, for example, I'm just there was all these rumors throwing it out there, the Raiders and everything. You know? What if the Raiders want to trade up with you and they're willing to give you this haul? Maybe you ask to see, well, what's Davante Adams' feelings about your situation? Does he want to stay in Las Vegas? Or since Derek Carr is out, is he going to more than likely leave? And if they say, well, Adams, I don't know, we don't know, then guess what? You make that trade and you say, okay, add Adams to the deal and we'll give you the first round pick. Simple as that. And if you're wondering, wait, why would the Raiders trade away Davante Adams if they might trade up to the first round pick to potentially take a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud? You're giving away a free number one receiver. Well, you got to do business like that sometimes. He would still have Darren Waller. He'd still have Hunter Renfrow. Yes, you're getting rid of Davante Adams, but at the same time, you got to do what you're going to do. You want to get your quarterback with your uncertain future? Maybe Ryan Poles puts that on the deal, on the table. Maybe he does that. Again, obviously, so far, this is the best part of the season. Shockingly enough, the Bears have the first overall pick in the draft. So, only other thing is it's now on Ryan Poles, guys. We criticize, there was Bear fans that criticized him last offseason for pretty much having a barren waste of a team. Well, it's on him. Bears have the most cap space in the NFL. They got the number one overall pick. They have what looks to be the franchise quarterback of the future in Justin Fields. Now it's on Ryan Poles to do the deals in the offseason, in the free agency period, get the guys that will contribute and make, progress to this team, improve their offense, get Justin Fields help and some other weapons, preferably get him that number one receiver, get him that dude that, guess what? Whether he's double covered, maybe triple covered, Justin Fields has belief in him that he can come down and make a catch. All those steps need to be in play. And you got the first pick. Simple as that. So we'll see what the Bears do in this offseason. I'll have to get in contact with my Uncle Daryl at some point. Next week, we'll probably do a Bears season in review, discussing the Bears season, talking about all the different positions, what we liked, what we didn't like out of this season, our thoughts on the coaching staff, yada, yada, yada. But the Bears got the first overall pick. I'm happy. You guys should be happy. And it's only going to go up from now. We saw the Jacksonville Jaguars last night. They clinched a playoff spot. They literally were the worst team in the league a year ago. And guess what? They ended up getting into the playoffs. They ended up winning the division. Now, obviously, the NFC North is a very much tougher division than the AFC South. But if the cards play right, if players are signed, there is help with Justin Fields. And Justin Fields, again, in his third year, takes a good, massive step. The Bears could be in the playoffs, probably more than likely getting a wild card. Don't know about a division. Maybe in a few years, a division title. But more than likely, you could get in the playoffs through a wild card, and you could turn your season around from being the worst to one of the best teams in the league. Simple as that, and it's doable. The last 2 years showed it. The Bengals 2 years ago were one of the worst teams in the league. They ended up going to the Super Bowl, a year ago. And then now look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the league last year, with everything that happened there. And now guess what? They won their division, and they're going to the playoffs. It's definitely doable for the Bears to do. It's definitely doable. They just got to pull Ryan Poles to make the right moves, put the right people around his franchise quarterback, and obviously cards have to play right going into next year. Again, now going into next year, I would like to see progress. I would like to see steps made. I would like to see a better record than this year. That's why I say next year is going to be on Ryan Poles. Now it's your turn. We brought you here for a reason. Do your job. I hope he doesn't get cheap like he was this offseason. He goes out there, and sometimes he goes out there and he has to overpay guys. We saw Christian Kirk again. He got overpaid. But guess what? His production showed up on the field. And now you look at that contract, you're like, maybe that's actually not a bad contract for his production he had this year. Sometimes I feel like Ryan Poles, in some cases, if he's going to have to get a guy, he's going to have to overpay. I hope Ryan Poles does not end up being cheap. I hope, I'm not saying like spend your money like crazy. Be smart with your money, but make sure sometimes if you know you need to get that guy, you might have to overpay for them. And guess what? You have the cap space to do it. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Bears are going to go. It's going to be interesting to see what Bear players resign and everything. But again, that'll be a discussion for another day. Potentially, me and my uncle might do a entire week recap going into the playoffs this week. So, yeah. But anyways, guys, catch you guys later. Thanks for all the support and everything and all whatever you guys enjoyed in terms of my Bears video for this regular season. I know the season wasn't the best season. If not, it was one of the worst seasons, but we had one bright spot, and that is the quarterback. And it looks like we might have the franchise quarterback. The only thing that's going to be unbearable for the next upcoming months is, well, are the Bears going to take a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick? Trust me, I don't think that's going to happen. They got their guy, I believe, unless he takes a horrendous, and I mean horrendous, like as bad as Mitch regressed. If he takes a huge regression, then going into next year, you more than likely need to tank again, and you might need to be entertained in the services of potentially getting a Caleb Williams, which is probably going to be the top quarterback, prospect going into next year. So yeah, but anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this. The Bears got the first round pick. So yeah, but till then, guys, catch you guys later. Peace.